Kia ora and welcome to Beer Club. I'm Luke, and today we are drinking Jeremiah from Heyday, which is an imperial pilsner. And you may notice there's no Joe today because Joe's moved to Australia. So cheers and good luck to you over there. Hopefully you're discovering some really fantastic beers over in Sydney. I'm looking forward to hearing more about what's happening in the scene over in Sydney when you're next back. So cheers, Joe. Thanks for all the great drink-alongs. And Joe's been replaced by the new and improved Joe, who is Rachel. So I reckon she might be joining us for some of the drink-alongs at some point soon. She's definitely not as much of a beer expert as Joe is, but she's enthusiastically picking things up. So if you've been along to the Small Guns Tap Room recently, you'll have met Rachel. So yeah, looking forward to sharing a beer with her on these videos at some point soon. So back to Jeremiah, which I was just looking up, and the artwork in the beer is clearly inspired by a song from the 70s about Jeremiah being a bulldog that enjoyed drinking wine. It is not a very good song. Pretty sure I've never heard it before, so that will not be the album match for this week's beer. But presumably it's a super famous song. Maybe I just missed out on it somewhere, somehow growing up in Shropshire. Maybe it's big here. Anyway, Jeremiah the Bulldog is a beer that is not a new release. It's been released a couple of times. It first came out in 2022 when you may have spotted it. It had a different but equally really cool label. It was this like golden bulldog, bullfrog artwork label on that one. But yeah, I really like the vibe of this one. It sort of reminds me of like Mr. Toad and Toad Hall. And unsurprisingly, it's a great label because it's by Hannah Blackwood, who does all of the artwork and just everything related to the aesthetic at Heyday, and just is a key part on what makes just the vibe and the experience of when you're drinking their beers. I do think it is a really important part of it. Obviously, the liquid inside the can is the most important thing, but also just what it looks like. And you know, if you're sitting down to enjoy a beer, it's really really influences your perception and your experience of the drink if it's wrapped up in really beautiful packaging. So yeah, Hannah wins many awards and always does a fantastic job. So it's always a treat seeing the new beers coming out and what they look like, and also the tap room. So it's in the top of Cuba Street and in Wellington, and it's just got really quite a unique aesthetic. It's really really clean and bright and bold. It's just really open and light, and yeah, it just has a really yeah, fun and playful but clean, beautiful vibe to it. So definitely pay those guys a visit next time you're in Wellington, where you're going to try all sorts of interesting beers. So another thing that I love about Heyday is that they're not afraid of experimental stuff. Something we've talked about recently is how these days the variety of beer is getting smaller, it's getting safer, less people are drinking craft beer, there's less room for experimentation. Brewers and, more importantly, accountants are focusing on profits and things that sell, which is very, very understandable. So it is pretty risky for breweries to be doing the sort of styles that Heyday do quite a lot of. So they do a lot of traditional European styles that I really love. So you get in things like Czech dark lagers, and then things like Nelson and Kolsch, so these traditional Euro style beers. But then they're doing some really cool culinary inspired stuff. So a lot of the sours that they do will be, so they've done like mojito or like infused with miso and balsamic, and the Asian beers in tequila barrels. Really experimental sort of beers and things that you just don't see around everywhere. So yeah, lots of really yeah, really cool styles to be coming out of the brewery, headed up by Ashley, who's a pretty amazing and creative brewer. And this is part of the Lager and Sour series. So maybe a couple of years ago, they started a monthly release schedule, where each month they release a pair of 440s, and there's a different lager and a different sour that comes out each month, which is really, really cool. And there've been all manner of really, really cool beers that have come out. And this one, as I say, first released in I think 2022. I think maybe it was a Birvana release. I remember seeing it, and it looks like they have tweaked it. So I just checked, and it was I think it was 6.3 when it first came out, and it's 6.9 now. So it's been elevated. But it's a Pilsner, king of beer styles, one of the most popular styles in the world, and with good reason. It's crisp, it's drinkable. Pilsners are kind of lager, of course, so generally they're cold conditioned for an extended period, which really gives you clarity of flavour, and gives you crispness, a dry finish, keeps you coming back for more. And Pilsners are generally a bit more on the hoppier side compared to other traditional lager styles, so they have a bit of bite to them and a bit of aroma. And then the Imperial Pilsner style is a style that just came out in the last 20 years out of the US, out the whole craft beer revolution boom. And it's ramped up. It's just an elevated Pilsner, basically. So double dosing it with the amount of malt that's in there. So it's a really boozy start. It's a boozier version than your traditional Pilsner that would be sub 5%. So it's more like around 7%. And then just using very, very large amounts of hops. So the hopping schedule being more akin to what you would put in an IPA that works really beautifully. So with all Pilsners, whether they're a regular Pilsner or it's an Imperial Pilsner, it is about drinkability. So you definitely don't want to be experiencing like boozy heat, basically. And you don't want to have any characteristics from the yeast profile. So you want it to be really clean fermentations. You don't want any esters in here. It's the sort of things you get in wheat beers and things like that. And this fits the bill perfectly. It's a really beautiful, clean, crisp fermentation. Yeah, you can taste a touch of alcohol. It definitely does taste boozier than a regular Pilsner. But there's certainly no alcohol heat in here. You don't feel like you're drinking special brew or some high octane sort of thing. It's balanced, it's well done, and it's, I suppose, a slight sweetness to it. Often with Pilsners you'll get some like some bready notes, maybe a bit of like honey malt character, which you are getting here. You're getting just the real, because there's so much more malt in here for the ABV. You're getting an elevated amount of the malt profiles, that beautiful Pilsner malt, which is something that's just such a delicious ingredient, and often you don't get to experience it so much because there's a lot of other stuff going on, or specialty malts, or it's not as heavy-handed an amount as would be used in a beer like this. And it's really all about the hops. So lean body, and just beautiful clarity straw color here, and it's a trio of amazing aromatic New Zealand hops. So I know we always talk about New Zealand hops. I was reading an article today from an American beer blog, and just talking about infused with like Eggers hops and Garston, and just how so many international brewers just aren't really wise to what's happening here in New Zealand, because it's hard to get our hops and they're so limited. So once again, it is a real treat for us to be drinking a beer like this today. But it's good carbonation on this beer as well, which is always a great characteristic in a Pilsner. You want it to be spritzy and alive, and taste delicious on the belch. And you've got so there's a Riwaka here, which is, so that's like bright citrus. Riwaka, obviously we talk about the unique character being lime zest, which is definitely quite a unique character. There aren't many hops that have the sort of liminess that you have in the Riwaka. And then you've got the Motueka, which is it's more than Motueka's massive lime and tropical notes, and the Riwaka's, I mean, both citrusy and limey. Sorry, I should probably start writing down some notes in advance of these videos. But yeah, both hops actually, I'd say the Riwaka and the Motueka. Lime probably is the dominant character. And then you're also getting things like definitely on the nose, you're getting passion fruit, and that sort of fits in with the kind of slight honey sweetness of the Pilsner malt. Just that, yeah, like gooey, sweet, rich passion fruit, and some like overripe melon, I'd say in here, like the little cantaloupe melons overripe, and then obviously the Nelson Sauvin, which is perhaps the most highly acclaimed of all our New Zealand hops, that kind of tastes like white wine, and that would be where the passion fruit aroma is coming from as well. It's a super unique hop of the like gooseberry, white wine, passion fruit, that's just pairing really well with the Riwaka and Motueka that are yeah, this sort of limey citrus character. Sorry, I don't know how many more times I can say lime, but it's kind of limey. And it's bright, and it's lean, and it's light. It's crisp, and it definitely does have a solid bitterness. So I'm sure this would be a good beer to enjoy with a friend and have a long debate over the difference between this beer and a West Coast IPA, of which there are many differences, but the recent trend for West Coast IPAs to be really light-bodied and actually really quite dry and quite crisp, and the trend for cold IPAs that we've had a few of in the subscription in recent months. So yeah, it all kind of melts together, but this is absolutely, definitively a Pilsner first, and it's a hoppy as hell Pilsner, with all these wonderful, glorious New Zealand hops that we have access to here in Aotearoa. So, unsurprisingly, another great beer from Heyday. And when I was talking about tequila barrels and miso and everything, I didn't even mention the stuff that they are doing with hops. So they're doing some cool stuff with like cryo hops and like liquid hop processes and all these different kinds of products that are becoming available in the brewer's toolkit these days. It's a really exciting time in not just hop varietals that are coming out, but also the ways in which hops are being processed. So brewers have got way more options these days to do cool stuff. Anyway, I've been waffling on forever. I feel like this video is probably longer than ones that I'm chatting to Jay with. So thank you for joining the Beer Club Drink Along this week. I hope you're enjoying this beer as much as me. You've probably finished your beer by now because I'm still waffling. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. And great work, Heyday, as always. And as always, thanks for being part of Beer Club. It's been over 10 years that we've been doing this, and we've never drunk the same beer twice. It's been all about discovery and exploration and celebrating independent brewers and brewers that are doing stuff that's harder to sell, frankly, because it's not a hazy pale ale. So yeah, really want to raise a glass to all of you people that have been part of the beer joke journey so far. And also, there aren't many of you. We have a surprisingly small amount of Beer Club subscribers. So if you love what we do and you want to see us carry on doing this, please tell a friend or two. Get them involved. We'd really love to see our numbers bump up a bit so that we can carry on bringing you these fantastic beers. Anyway, I'm off to enjoy finishing this in quiet. Cheers. See you next time.